Welcome back to the Ecuador Insider podcast. Jesse, Brandon, pleased to be with you on this fine Thursday afternoon. I always say Thursday afternoon, comes out on Saturday for you beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in. Right now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and in the comments right now, tell us what dates would work for you to come to a Vilcabamba lifestyle retreat. Our next one is August 29th. So we'll be running our next Vilcabamba lifestyle retreat here in beautiful Vilcabamba, Ecuador, August 29th. If you have felt the calling at all in any way to check out Ecuador, to see what this place has to offer, if our crazy conversations have gotten you at all excited, interested, or wanting to know more about this place, this is a really, really beautiful way to spend 9 days here. Get to know the area, hang out with some amazing people, make some lifelong friends, get all the information you're looking for, get hands-on experience, just really see absolutely everything for yourself. And there's a ton of expertise. You know, you have seminars with the country's leading experts on all the subjects that matter to you if you're thinking about moving here. So it's a very value-packed 9 days. We'd love to see you down here. Hit the link below. Check it out. Check out our reviews, both on WeTravel as well as Google Maps. Both those links, I believe, should be below in the description. We'd love to see you down here.
And guys, there's only 6 spots left. I don't know if you know this. We have 6 spots left. So we have the retreat at Ishkailuma Resort. The rooms are limited, guys. So we're limited capacity. I mean, there are some logistical things that we like to keep group sizes, you know, in that sweet spot, but we're limited by the amount of rooms. So we have 6 spots left. So if you're interested, be one of the 6, baby. Be one of the 6. We'd love to see you down here in August.
The other thing I would love to hear from you in the comments are what do you want us to cover on these podcasts? Are there topics that you're interested in having us cover? Anything you'd like us to talk about, leave that as well in the comments below.
I mean, I think we get a lot of that, you know, cost of living, what's the weather like, what's it like raising a family. I mean, I think we try and hit most of that all the time, I would say.
Well, you're supposed to ask for comments.
Oh.
And then that boosts the algorithm.
Oh, that's how this works.
So,
okay.
So just say stuff.
Yeah. Say something crazy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, you made me laugh again. So, what are we talking about today?
I don't know. What would you like to talk about? I mean, we do have beautiful weather again, man. We're in a good time. The wind's picked up a little bit.
Has picked up a little bit.
Not oppressive wind, but it's.
We'll have to see if we're like, you know, these extreme weather events.
Yeah.
Or weather patterns, which have nothing to do with oil and gas. Yeah, we'll have to see if we get all the fires this year or not.
I hope not. Yeah.
The rains were pretty intense this year. They're still fixing the road to go to Loja.
Yeah.
Which has been brutal on the businesses here in town.
They're still fixing the road to my house.
Yeah, that's right. Although it's looking good now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they fixed it 17 times.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually fixing it this time, which is good.
Yeah, that's the story I got. So I went to a couple of my reliable sources, and they said this is going to keep happening as long as it's raining because they're not actually fixing it.
Right.
He's like, they're going to wait
well, it's
until
been like that
rain.
for years.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like that. And I always thought that it was a little fault line that was there, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a burst pipe, or maybe it's both.
No, they said it's both.
That's what I thought.
I don't know if it's a fault line, but there's like a...
Yeah, it's a little mini fault
There's some...
line.
Okay, yeah.
It's the one that runs like through Ishkailuma, down through Cuba, and then must keep going through there.
Yeah.
Because, that... For all the years I've been here, they would pave it, and then it would start bubbling and moving a little bit and breaking, and it was just always crappy there.
Right.
So then at some point, they just, I don't know, they kind of stopped paving it. But yeah, this year for the rainy season, it was...
Yeah, this is the worst I've seen.
It was bad.
Since I've been here for 4 years.
No, everything's more extreme, man. Everything's more extreme. We are definitely in the wake-up call time on Earth.
Yeah, and you're seeing it even back in the Midwest. Mm-hmm. My parents are out and they're showing me a video of it's 90 degrees, they're hitting the 90s, and then it's like, then they're back and they might snow and it's, 30 and you got tornado warnings and storm,
Yep.
I know that stuff's always happened, but I don't know,
It's picked up.
It does feel a little different.
It's
maybe.
picked up.
Yeah.
And we got rivers turning red and floods and
Yeah.
then you get into the chicken or the egg question on weather manipulation as well.
Yeah, that's one, huh? I mean, that's one they don't even hide anymore. Again, you know,
Right.
This
that's
is
true.
like they're not even hiding
That's
it.
true.
It's just blatantly there.
I mean,
now.
that's
They're
another
talking
one of
about
those where it's like when something has been talked about and shown to you, like shown to you in predictive programming, but then also just talked about in like a conspiratorial way for long enough, then when you just announce it, it's like,
it. Yeah, it's geoengineering. It's okay, guys. It's for the greater good.
Yeah.
You know, right? It's,
I saw one of those apparently, and I'm by the way completely joking with all this. You and I don't get into the fear stuff like at all.
No.
This is, and maybe part of that's because we live in Vilcabamba,
right,
Ecuador.
it's a little bit easier here.
Yeah,
to do
it's a
that.
little bit easier. But apparently, I don't remember the name of the fish, but one of those fish that only, they call it like an apocalypse fish or something. I don't remember. It's not that, but it's something like that. One of these fish
see this.
that washes.
It's one of those creepy looking fish.
Yeah, that's like 6 feet long or something. That washes up when there's a cataclysmic event about to take place.
Ooh.
Washed up in
I gotta see this.
in
I gotta see if it's the fish I think it
Tasmania
is.
was the, which I think is in Australia, right?
Is it?
I
guess
think
I
so.
don't even know. I got to see this fish because
It's a
I used to
weird
watch
looking
all
fish.
those
It looks
shows.
almost like, you know what it looks like actually? It looks a little bit like a
Would you say apocalypse fish?
yeah, but
What
that's
it's called?
not it.
Oh.
I don't remember the name, but it looks a little bit like
Doomsday fish. Is it the
That's
doomsday
that's
fish?
it. That's probably it. Like a sea bass. It looks a little
Doomsday
bit-
fish washes up alive on Mexico Beach.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that what you're talking about?
No, I was talking about in Tasmania, just today or yesterday or something. Anyways, it's not that interesting.
I'm
It was a
interested.
throwaway comment.
It's okay. I'm curious. Yeah,
All right.
Tasmania. Oh, crazy.
Tell us.
Let's see. Which news source do we want to look at? Do we want to look at the Guardian? Do we want to look at the New York Post?
Endtimes.com.
New York Post? Do we want to look at?
I don't know, man. Whatever.
Oh. Here's Yahoo. That's got to
You
be.
went with Yahoo? All
I
right.
don't know. Because they didn't call it Doomsday Fish in the headline. So I'm like, oh, they didn't clickbait it.
Right?
Let's see. Dog walker discovers rare fish linked
So
to
why
dark
are
legend.
all these
on
news agents? Well,
windswept Aussie
here's the
beach.
more interesting question. Why are all these news agencies covering this? That's probably the more interesting question.
Right. Let's see. Australian beach. Okay, it's a head and sea, blah, 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 blah. 175 centimeters. I don't know.
Yeah,
how to do
that's the
that.
one I saw. So that's almost
Oh,
2
wow.
meters.
So they inhabit waters 250 to 1,000 meters
Wow.
below the surface. So they're not supposed to be. And it was
Right.
on the surface alive, apparently.
Oh. Well, I mean, they got all. Well, this has actually been. I don't know if you followed any of this stuff. This has actually been a phenomenally interesting last week or two,
Huh.
in terms of what the sun has been doing.
Yeah.
We've had,
Super active, right?
super active and continuously.
Yeah. I mean, we've had phases like this, right?
I
Of
mean,
like
I don't
hyper-
study it close enough to know, but
I remember when, I forget the guy's name, Ben Davidson and Suspicious Observers. I used to watch his show way back in the day.
I think that was like CIA stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But
I'm not
I
sure,
mean,
but yeah.
I remember that when I was into, when NASA would.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about a different one. Sorry, go ahead.
You'd find. I think that was called. That's what I'm talking
Yeah, Suspicious Observers. I remember. Yep.
Yeah, but I remember there was, I saw an article about NASA
Mm-hmm.
talking about the magnetosphere or some, I don't remember, and then how something was changing with sunspots, and I just got interested, and I started reading articles, and then I found that YouTube channel back in the day. I maybe still doing it, but he would do.
I think so.
He is still doing it?
I think so. I'm not
No,
sure.
yeah, and they would go into detail, and then I'm like, I got to the point where I'm like, why am I believing everything this guy says? Like I was consuming it. Like everything he said about it was like
Yeah.
fact.
No, I mean, you go through that.
You know,
you go through that stage.
And
like,
maybe it was. I don't know. But
Sure,
I stopped
sure,
watching.
sure.
I didn't like. I'm not spending any more time on this.
you go through that phase. For me, that guy was like Dutch synths. Did you
That's
ever
yeah. It was very similar to that
Yeah,
guy.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He did stuff like that.
Right.
Didn't he? Was he the guy that did the earthquakes?
Yeah.
Dutch Sense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I remember him.
Yep. As it turns out, Brandon,
Yes.
life ends.
Does it?
Yes.
Oh,
One way or the
man.
other.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Try and breathe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and breathe. What else did you find? Is the fish interesting?
No, I mean it's interesting looking. Yeah.
Well, we had apparently Italy's volcanoes are doing interesting things as well. I mean, all that stuff is connected. Jokes aside, so you have the sun and what it's doing, the moon and what it's doing, the astrology and what it's doing, Schumann resonance and what it's doing, and then that stuff all interplays with earthquakes, tsunamis, human behavior, activity.
Journeys to the center of the earth.
And then you get into. You threw me with that comment. I forget what I was gonna say, but yeah, right. So, you get into like the prophecy stuff,
Yeah.
which I think we are witnessing a lot of that in real time, which is fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
No, you don't fully agree with that statement.
No, I do. I think but I think those prophecies they're just always happening. They're always unfolding. It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we won't get it back into that debate.
Yeah. I mean,
We did that last week.
did we?
I think so, didn't we?
I don't know. When you talked about fish, I thought you were talking about that fish. You know that fish? You never even asked me about that fish, huh?
It looks like a goldfish or something.
Oh, it's a betta fish,
Okay.
but there's other reasons why I have that, but betta specifically, do you know anything about those fish?
No.
They call them like Siamese or Japanese fighting fish or something. You get them in carnivals sometimes. You can't put them
I
together.
used to have those.
They fight
when I
each
was a
other.
kid,
They
yeah.
tear each other apart, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
They're
interesting.
very
like,
beautiful.
In the wild, they're not as beautiful, right?
Is that right?
They're more dull, because they're camouflage. They're trying to, they're solitary. This is what's interesting about it. So they're a solitary fish. They're a small fish. Mm-hmm. They're solitary. So most small fish in the wild are schooling fish. That's how they defend themselves in schools, right? So bettas are solitary. They don't they don't have families. They're not by themselves. They don't they're solitary fish. And so as part of in the wild, they're more camouflaged. So they're more muted colors, dull browns, whatever. They're not like bred in captivity. But what else is cool about them is they're super adaptive. So maybe there's other fish that do this too.
Yeah.
But bettas have I don't remember exactly. This is the technical name, but they call it the labyrinth organ, and it allows them to actually breathe atmospheric air.
Oh, really?
So they can go really shallow and breathe where other fish can't because it's low oxygen or there's low flow, but they can actually leave the water, breathe air, and go back into shallow spots, and they've adapted that over time. So it's just cool, right? So they're super solitary. They don't rely on anybody. They don't rely on schools. They're tiny as hell, and they can breathe. They've adapted, or they were designed, I don't know, to be able to breathe atmospheric air as well.
That's an interesting question. Is like adaptation. Does that even exist at all? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or they were designed that way. Yeah. I mean, I have nothing. There's probably nothing. There's probably no proof, evidence that says this was a betta fish before adaptation and not. Just like any of the stuff with human skeletons and all that stuff, I'm not convinced that any of that depicts evolution versus another species, another type of fish, another type of humanoid. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
there was a few goes at it.
Yeah, right?
At
Maybe.
the slave race,
Right,
there was a few
right.
goes at it.
Right.
Where the last go.
I want to see the Bigfoots. Do you think any of them are left?
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I think there's got to be like a
I
couple.
would. Yes. I mean, if you're just saying like, would I speculate? Sure. Yes, I would say yes.
Right, and that's what gives me hope is the beta fish.
I think all those movies about and stories about giant hunters and all that, I think are real. Like I think they hunted and killed and exterminated the remaining genetic material of the giants.
Right, and there's lots of reasons on how you can justify why, right? Were they actually a threat, or maybe, or are silly little humans just scared of everything? So they're just scared, so let's take out the giants because we're scared of the giants, Or were the giants a threat?
Well, yeah, or third, would it just... So my hypothesis on that would be more so that it just allows people to think in directions that they didn't want people thinking in. It's like it's a consciousness expanding...
Is that the threat?
Yes, exactly. It's a consciousness expanding piece of information.
Yeah.
I mean, if you buy into the, talking about the cycles of time, like if you buy into some of that stuff that is hypothesized about with some perhaps, not the most compelling evidence ever, but some interesting evidence nonetheless, in terms of some of the shorter time cycles and some of the rise and falls of civilizations, and the idea that Egypt was here and here and here and here and here, and Tartaria and the buildings and what was discovered and what was built and who was there, and all over the world you can, and also all just the different archaeological stuff all over the world.
Right.
And
when they find sea life that is
Right.
supposed to be thousands of miles, and they're finding it on top of mountains, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And all the
not just like a piece, like
right.
an ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly. And all of the interesting, stuff around the way structures were built and how they line up with the heavenly bodies.
Yeah.
And when and how and on what dates and where the sun comes through, and that stuff's on every inch of this globe.
Right. Which is insane.
Or every inch of this earth.
Right. Exactly. Because that's my point. Like it's almost insane to think that we're actually spinning around, spiraling through. Like, I feel like that is more insane to actually believe that now. That we're on a ball spinning around, that's spiraling through with this heliocentric model that just doesn't make any sense, where these stars are always in the same spot, and everybody, even every civilization that we can come up with has documented, recognizing where these are. Like, it's just like that. So it's just, I don't know. But then all these random comets and whatever asteroids and all this other stuff, we don't know that they're coming until like a day before, 2 days before, like, oh yeah, it's the closest one to Earth ever, but we just found it, but we know where the stars are in the same spot every time, no matter where you want, and this day, anytime, we know it like that. It doesn't make, I don't know, it's really I don't know, man.
Yeah, and then you factor in astrology works.
Right.
Like the only people who deny astrology haven't studied it. If you've gone to a good astrologer who's looked at your chart and told you about yourself, your response was holy shit. Right. Like there isn't another way to
Yeah, there's some fundamental truths I think about that.
So so that factors in, and then you get to the really interesting part is would it be different based on what everyone believes?
Yeah.
So
they've done experiments on that.
Right. Exactly. So
observers.
So here we are sitting in quote unquote Ecuador.
Yeah.
Which I guess
that's what they call it.
That's what they call it.
Right. I mean, I've had a few conversations recently with folks that were stuff that we maybe not why I moved here, but maybe you was into your process, and maybe even some of things that I thought about but weren't like, hey, I'm moving there because of this. But they're talking about in the more apocalyptic, view of things, not apocalyptic in the sense of unveiling or revealing things,
right.
but more of catastrophic.
Yep.
Apocalyptic things.
The shadow side of the dualism.
Yeah, exactly. But talking about how, wow, how did you exit? How did you randomly get into Ecuador? People, these are folks that aren't from Ecuador. Like, how did you that it's random that we're in Ecuador, that it's an accident, that the world's at this state that it's in, and if you believe in the Coriolis effect, if you believe in any of that, and Ecuador is in the southern hemisphere, so any of the pollution, nuclear fallout gets spun back up at the equator. So if any of that stuff's real, 99% of the nuclear power and industry and chemicals are in the northern hemisphere.
Right.
So
and like 88 or 90% of the population and almost all the nuclear power.
Right. That's right. Yeah, the nuclear. Yeah. So even if there was a problem, an issue, a catastrophe with any of those systems, and if those systems are even as real as we think they are, in regard to some aspects, but then you have the Coriolis effect that's keeping, and there's actual evidence that they can show you tests on that would lead you to believe that the Coriolis effect exists to some extent, right? So you've got that there, and then you've got down here. There's in the southern hemisphere, there's hardly any industry. There's where we live in Ecuador, there's not huge population centers, and even the few that there are, they're very heavily populated, and then they're sparsely populated everywhere else. You're surrounded by rainforests and natural resources and low population centers, even on your borders on most of them. You've got an ocean. You've got, no, direct flight paths over the country. You're not you're not this huge military strategic target from a combat perspective.
Right.
And there are all these things. You're like, how did you just randomly? And it's like, well, it's not, it's really not so random, right?
I mean, those were all things that I factored in 2012, 13 when I was,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So
you as well?
Well, I wouldn't say there were things that we thought about, but they weren't like, I wasn't at the point, I think if I would have found Ecuador, like if Ecuador would have come up in my process maybe 5 or 6 years earlier.
Yeah, right. Well, then that's when it did for me. Right.
Then maybe I would have been like, I'm moving there because of these. Right. By the time I got to Ecuador, like Ecuador popped up into my consciousness, into my thoughts.
You were in a less fear-based place.
I wasn't in a fear-based place like that anymore. So it was like, oh, this is awesome. That's all great, but then all this other stuff that is not that that's not real, but that is real and tangible for me, and it has that too. Holy crap! Oh, the cows got out. Hi, Zamari, like that. I got cows, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that you can't run away from your destiny and you can't run away from karma. So, making decisions out of fear because you think you're going to escape something is just fool's gold.
Yeah.
There are better and worse options.
Sure.
So the way I look at some of that stuff now, because I did, I was like, I had a list. 2012, I had a list.
Was it more fear? Like escape?
No. So it was, for me, it was a very dual, like two-tracked thing. It was like I had just gone through a massive shift in consciousness where I completely recalibrated from like full on in the matrix, get rich was my main goal. I just had a kid, I'm getting an MBA, investing, I'm working my brains out, I got a lot of debt, I'm like in that. I went from that to holy shit, nothing is as I thought it was. Like that was my process. I went really deep on all the conspiracy stuff, and that got me into energetics and spirituality and frequency and understanding some of that stuff.
It's all connected.
And then, of course, well, and everyone has their, anyways, that's a whole nother conversation, but, and then it was during that time that the proactive going for something dream hit me, where it's like, well, actually what I really want to do is I want to go build heaven on earth somewhere. And then it's like, well, where, and then how, and what does that look like, and then, you know, and that's where, right, and that's where Ecuador came up, which happened also to hit on everything on the list, because I wanted Southern Hemisphere, no volcanoes, I didn't want to be right in crazy fault lines, I didn't want to be a war target, I didn't want nuclear power, I didn't want, you know, on and on, right, so it all, year-round warmth, soil, air, water, like it also check the box on all of that, and so that's kind of for me. But what I think is you know, the added benefit of like this particular spot in the world, and I think, you know, are there some people here that just kind of come for escape reasons? Sure. Yeah. Are they the majority? No, they're not even. They're probably 10% or something. What's cool about this place is it, you know, because nothing is by accident, and because, you know, I remember the word you were using a minute ago that said random, like because nothing's random and it's not random. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Taking this quick break to remind you, we run Vilcabamba lifestyle retreats. If you're interested in checking out this area, hanging out with us, getting all the information you could possibly want, and having a great time, check out the links below. Thanks so much. Back to the program. You know, the souls of the people that have been attracted to this place are like, you know, something's being built here. Like there's a network, there's a community, like there's something that's happening here. There's something that's being built here that, you know, really is unique. You know, it's real and it's unique. It's not something you find everywhere on Earth in terms of, if you look at the frequency, the energetics, the vibration of places, which just means like it feels a certain way, it looks a certain way, it has certain attributes. Yeah. You know, every place has its own of that, and Vilcabamba, man, it's something. I mean, it's crazy, it's weird, it's it's a very interesting place. It's got its quirks, and there's some darkness. You know, there's some people that just talk crap for a living, basically, and you know, there's people that, you know, just want to just kind of be that negative thing, right? And that you're gonna have that anywhere. Sometimes that's part of the tests and part of the process and all that. But there's such a community here of beautiful, sort of heart-centered, on the path, doing amazing things, doing beautiful things in the communal stuff here. That's really amazing. And I'm always really impressed by the layers of that and how real it is, especially when there's negative events, you know, when somebody goes through something that they need help, or things like that, or even just, you know, stuff that, you know, this girl in town recently had this idea, and, you know, a few months later she opened this like little community center thing, and it looks like it's going well. Like, that's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think, you know, when you're talking about, you know, this place where, you know, most people aren't escaping. Yeah. I think a lot of that goes back to, you know, when you're leaving a place where you're from, you know, where you were born. Like if you're born in the United States, Canada, or Europe, or regardless, anywhere you are in the world, where you're from, you spend most of your life growing up there. You're conditioned by that society, by that culture, wherever that is. When you first, you know, kind of awaken or start thinking about doing life differently, or how can life be differently, or who am I, any of that kind of stuff, where you start to go deeper spiritually, or thinking about, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up, any of that kind of stuff.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah. Me too. You know, I think the reason that folks that come here, that leave where they're from, that leave their family, their friends, everything they know, coming here, it's not easy, man. It's not easy, because you already have the fear that's built into the system about leaving everything you know. Here's the unknown, and then when you think about all the stereotypes about South America and Ecuador and cartels and drugs and tin roofs, and you're going to get robbed and this and all this stuff, like, you know, so you have that, you know, like, so not only is it truly unknown to you, because if you've never experienced it, never been there, But then any of the research you're doing, you're coming across all this negative, scare the crap out of you, and then holy crap, scare the crap out of me. I got cows coming up here, bro. Hi, Angie. Oh, this is not good. Anyway, so you have that. So you have that unknown fear. Like the folks that are running from something, that are truly looking to escape, they're not escaping. They're not find where to escape to. They're not if you're in that mode, on that vein, in that mindset, in that vibration, you're not escaping to Ecuador because you're scared of Ecuador. You're already scared of it. You're like there and you're like, holy crap. So yeah, that doesn't mean everybody. Yeah, you're going to get a sprinkling of folks.
Yeah.
Like the 10% or so of people that are scared. They're going to come anyway, and for other reasons. But I think most people that are in that, I'm scared of where I am, or I'm scared of who I am, or I'm scared of, whatever you're scared of and trying to run from. You're not running to Vilcabamba. Most people, because
especially now,
not because you're scared of, because you're gonna find it and you're like, holy crap, right? So I think that goes to some of why we don't have that here, and that's, to me, that's
why we don't have what here.
Why we don't have a lot of the people that are just running from something here. Like, you would think that maybe when you consider, like, if you just objectively analyze all the different attributes for what they are, is trying unbiasedly as you can, like the things you talked about with industry and population centers and pollution and weather and cost of living and community and all these different things. I mean, it's hard to not say, holy crap, how is Ecuador not up on the list, on most people's lists objectively, if they were doing that, right? But then when you start to get in, the devil's in the details. When you start to get into the details, you get scared away. It's like, all right, I'm out of there. Nope, I can't do that, right? So I think a lot of those people don't even give themselves the chance to come here, right? So for me, the people that do are the ones that are like, not everyone, but a lot more people than not are the ones here looking to build, looking to be part of, looking to contribute, looking to, support. Looking for a different way to contribute, to be part of it, not to run and hide from it. So when you see that, and you see that in the community every day, and you see that, and then when you're here for a while, and then you realize that maybe part of the reason, like if you're of the idea that as more people think along the same lines, it shifts consciousness one way or another. And you have these people from other places in the world that are being called here to build, to contribute, to be part of this community. Maybe it's because, particularly in this part of Ecuador where we live, the local community, they're inherently that way. Like, bro, I'm getting goosebumps. Like they're not trying, they're not seeking that. They just are that, they're there. So maybe like we're not giving enough credit to the consciousness of the local people.
Yeah, it's true.
That are actually calling.
The meek shall inherit the earth. It's almost that kind of idea.
It is a little bit, yeah. Yeah, but I started thinking that, more recently about, gosh, my Spanish is so bad, but I have such good relationships with a lot of folks here. My family does, and it's like that are real. Like Quinn's birthday was Tuesday. He turned 9. We were like, all right, we've been here for 4 years. We have never thrown him a birthday party. Okay. So we're like, let's do something on your birthday. Who you want to invite? He's got gringo friends. He's got not a single kid that spoke English was at my house on Tuesday. Not a single kid. They're all, I'm like, I'm like, wow, this is my son. Okay, yeah, it's just the cows, Daisy. Yeah. But it just dawned on me, like, wow, my son. Oh, you want to get Daisy, Fernando? Show. There's Daisy. You want to get, yeah. But it dawned on me then that that my son, like, the relationships that he values the most are with these kids. And part of it is because he plays soccer with them every day. So, but it's just like not a single gringo kid that he's friends with a lot. I mean, he's friends with a lot of English-speaking kids, and not a single one that he's like, this is what I want for today. I'm like, okay, dude, it's your birthday, cool, let's do that. But it got me thinking, like, after that night, because it was fun. It was a fun day, they played capture the flag, and then they had pizza and wings, and I made, but then I had them all. Most of it was outside. Then they all came inside to eat and cake and blah blah blah. And it dawned on me, I'm like, wow, man, like they're, like it was just beautiful. Like it just made me think, like, wow, they're just kids, but they are, what I'm striving to be. They're just inherently that.
Yeah.
So it just got me thinking about that kind of stuff and thinking about, like, what else is special? It's all the tangible things like we talked about. And there's other things, ancient things with ley lines and vortexes and all that stuff, and that exists here too. But then, like, why now? What's drawing? And I think it goes, at least it's not a full-on, like, I believe this 100%, but I'm starting to think more and more that it's just the consciousness of the local people that are just this way. They're like, that's part of it.
Yeah, anyway. Which is tied to the land as well.
Yeah.
Like those two things are hand in hand.
Yeah.
Consciousness of the people, consciousness of the land, spirit of the people, spirit of the land.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, and so then that creates certain things, and then those things that are created then attract certain people.
Right.
And that's kind of like what's going on here.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, because it is, to talk about Ecuador and then to talk about, like, Vilcabamba, like, those are different things.
Right.
Just in the same way to talk about, America and to talk about, some little town in Idaho or something. Like, those are different things. But it's like, I think of Cuenca, for example, which, is a great city, and it's pretty, and in general, it's pretty safe as well, and it's got nice architecture and good nightlife and good restaurants, and it has a good culture, and
more sophisticated.
More sophisticated for sure, while still being that, like, culture of the mountains where people are very polite and relatively formal, and, like, so I have nothing bad to say about the place. But if you look at like, well, okay, why do people go there versus why do people come to Vilcabamba? And therefore, who are those people? Pretty different.
Yeah.
Pretty different, right? Like Cuenca could just as easily be in Arizona.
Right.
The only difference is that, like, for a lot of people who are in Cuenca, and not everybody, but for, like, a lot of the expats I'm talking about that are in Cuenca, they're there essentially because it's cheaper.
Right.
Like, it's cheap. It has what you want in a city, in a place to live, but your cost of living is, orders of magnitude less than it would be for that same city in Arizona.
Right. You've got some art, you got some museum, you got some culture, you got some music, you've got, like you said, some good restaurants.
Yeah. So like, if you go back to talking about, like, what a place is and vibe and things like that, that's super different, right? You've got in Cuenca, for example, right, which is just kind of a city. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people that live there are living there, for reasons that have nothing to do with life mission, purpose, what they want to create, what their values are, things like that. It's more so just, hey, I did some research, and my pension goes further here than it does where I live, or my quality of life will be better here than versus where I live. So yeah, those are, that's a very big difference between a place like that and a place like this.
Right. No, it's true, man. Yeah, because it's more like, it seems like Cuenca is more like a transactional decision. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Versus like an emotional or a sense. Like, it's crazy. She's just Angie. Yeah, but it just seems like Cuenca. Yeah, this. Angie.
Focus,
Angie.
Brandon. Focus.
I can't. I have a cow right next to me. You should see when she runs and gallops. It's hilarious, dude. Like she'll like jump. Angie. Yeah, no, it seems like all right, if you're logical mind only, Cuenca seems like a great solution.
Which it can be.
Which it can be for
Yeah.
a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that do that. And it's bigger. I mean, Cuenca's way bigger than Loja, right?
Way bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, so just the vibe of that alone, there's 30 different vibes in Cuenca, you know, like just different pockets of, and Vilcabamba is 6,000 people, 5,000, 7,000 people
Yeah.
maybe, you know, it's hard to even compare the two, right?
Right.
You know. But I actually like Cuenca. I like visiting Cuenca. I
Yeah,
guess.
totally.
Yeah, I like visiting Cuenca.
Well, it's got the hot springs.
Hot
and
springs are awesome. The weather's
Terrible.
I don't know, the times I've gone,
I can't stand it.
dude, but at the times
Yeah. No, it can be very nice during the day.
so yeah, okay. So
Not always.
So what I've been told about Cuenca's weather by people that
It
live
just
there,
depends if the sun's out or not.
and the times I've actually been in Cuenca,
Yeah.
sun's been out.
Yeah.
It's been,
If the
it's
sun,
been nice.
no, when the sun's out in Cuenca or Quito, it's fantastic.
yeah.
It's just when it's raining and cloudy and
Yeah.
50.
Yeah,
you
no
know,
thanks.
that sucks.
No
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not infrequent.
Right. It just happened to not be the times.
you've
I've been
been,
to Cuenca 5 or 6, 7, 8 times now. And,
Yeah. I mean, I woke up in Quito once and saw my breath,
oof.
like in the hotel.
Ooh.
I was like,
Yeah, no thanks. I do not miss that, you know.
yeah.
I'm okay. Like, I like how nights cool off. It's chilly in the morning. I like that crispness. It wakes me up. I feel good like waking up to that. And then the fog, if there's fog, or I don't even know what it is, the mist, you know, it burns off or rolls away. The sun's out, and it's. I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, there's like, there's levels. It's like, I don't know. From my standpoint, every experience that any individual has is a reflection of their consciousness. And so that's also true of where you live. It's true of your experiences in that place. It's true of the decision, the decisions you're going to make, which come from your consciousness, then lead to your experience, right? If you just want to say it that way. So what you're going to experience is a result of your consciousness, what you're open to experiencing, so on and so forth. And so, yeah, like, if you take a place like Vilcabamba, there's kind of a lot of, which is not some panacea, like it's just a place.
Right.
In one way it's just a place. In another way it's really cool and has a lot of layers and has some amazing depth and nature and, all this sort of I don't know, flexible reality / spiritual type stuff. But in another sense, it's just a place. So, a place like here has a lot of barriers to entry, right? So it's like, I was having this conversation with a guy on the phone the other day, who's interested in doing some kind of somewhat big things here. And he was asking me about the market and about, and he asked me like, what's the biggest barrier to the things of this scale that he was talking about, which wasn't like a huge scale, but and I said to him like, well, number one, it's not that easy to get here, if you're coming from Europe, it's even harder. But if you're coming from the U.S., Canada, first you have to get to either Florida or Houston or Atlanta or Mexico or Panama or right, like one of those spots. Then to Quito. Then often you have to sleep, in Quito and then catch a flight to Loja the next morning, or if you're sane, the next afternoon.
It's an hour plus from the airport. And
Then you're an hour and a
yeah.
quarter, whatever. An hour if I'm driving, from 57 minutes if I'm driving, from the airport, right? So that's a barrier. Then there's the international news, right? Which you sort of touched on a little bit earlier, but it's like, if you're sitting in Philadelphia and you're going to Ecuador, It looks, it's like a presidential candidate was assassinated. There's power outages. There's fires. There's floods. There's cartels
murders
have taken
everywhere.
over the country. It's like, so for people who can't feel what this place is, who like don't have, can't get past that stuff, that's it. That's the end of that exploration of of that aspect of their consciousness is going to end right there. That's another big barrier.
Right.
Then the third thing is other than us, no one's promoting this place. Right. That's the third thing, right? So it's like how would you even like what would make you come across our videos and if you don't come across our videos, how many other opportunities are there to even know about this place? Right. Unless it's by word of mouth, or just some random person who might have passed through and made a video who has a following or something like that. There's almost no exposure from that standpoint. And I think all of that is exactly as it should be. It's like, as you like to say so often, this place is not for everyone. I think it takes a unique individual to sort of be into what this place has to offer. It kind of has to call you. You have to be prepared for a major shift and change in terms of lifestyle and how you look at the world and how you view things and maybe even who you are to some degree. It's a real divergence from I would argue if you're even living in the States, even if you're relatively out of the matrix, like even if you're living some sort of alternative lifestyle and maybe something like that, or maybe at least you work from home or you work for yourself or you have income streams that allow you to not be doing the corporate like 9 to 5 thing. Even that, like even if you're pretty outside the matrix already, this is another order of magnitude from that even. So, I think excuse me, going back to my original point, like I think you have to be at a certain place in your consciousness for this to even come on your radar. And then from there to make the move, it has to appeal to you. And it has to it's not going to appeal to you for the reasons Cuenca appeals to you. It's not just going to be like, oh, look, this is cheap. Right, or like, oh, look, like, look what I can get here for my dollar. Look at the bang for my buck in a house or something here. Like, yeah, it has those benefits. But that's not really what's, if that's all you're looking for, there's plenty of other places that have that. What this place has that's not unique, like it's the only place in the world or anything. I think there's quite a few other places actually, but also not a ton. What this place has is it has the vibe, the community, that sort of like calling of like, hey, we want to create something different and new, and that a lot of people are in one form or another participating in here.
Yeah, dude, 100%, man, and it's exciting. Like for me now. Like I just got a message from Debbie. Debbie and Rick were on the last retreat, and she's like, hey, they enjoyed it here. They came for the retreat for the first time. They had a blast, and she messaged me, hey, they're coming back in a month, end of June or July, first couple weeks of July. Spent a couple weeks, and it's and I was like, immediately I'm like, yes, this is like awesome.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, and then and I was telling the kids because Bella really liked Debbie, and I told him Bella, and I was telling Tiff, and Bella overheard, and she's like, yes, and like the fact that like my kids were excited about these people that they met for 9 days. Mm-hmm. That you didn't even see them all 9 days, but just had that experience. You get that sense, and now they're coming back, and they want to contribute, not to,
right.
Like you just know those are the people, those are the type of people that are going to make it. That are people that are going to not only thrive here, but contribute to making this place whatever it becomes, and without like trying to change everything, like.
Right.
People, we'll get random YouTube comments sometimes like, oh, you guys are just trying to change it. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not trying to change a dang thing about any of it. I'm almost opposed to it at this point. Like, I don't want it to, Like, I don't want that. I'm not trying to do that. I don't, no, it's just that kind of, when you just do like a superficial glance at either us or our content, you know, some people will say that stuff, and it's just like, dude, I'm not. Talk to me for 10 minutes, and you'll know I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't even care. Like, I'm gonna tell you what I think about it, and if you don't like it, okay, like, good. I'm not great. You don't need to like it. I'm not telling you because I need you to like it. Like, I'm just telling you what I think about living here, what I think about it for my family, what it means to me, what it means for my kids, and and why do I care to do that? Because regardless of whether we have a real estate company or whether we do stuff in the community or not, is because I appreciate that existed before I came here. That you were making videos and that you were you were saying what you thought about this place. I didn't get the sense like, oh, Jesse's trying to get me to come down here and buy real estate, right? I never got that. So then I get here and we meet eventually, not even right away. I mean, it was like a while after. And then I'm like, okay, you're not that. My sense was validated by that, right? So like I want to be that for other people that are looking for something, you know, wherever they are in that journey, that they can be like, oh, yeah, that guy's telling me the truth, and then I go down there and like, yeah, that's the truth. It's valid, you know, like that.
Of course.
I don't know. So it was
100%.
It was just awesome.
And we got to wrap, but I'll leave it here. Dude, I even feel that just with making these videos and stuff, that it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, because I don't want it to change either.
Right.
Like, I don't want too many people to know about it. Right. Like too much influence, and that's partly why, you know, this is gonna sound very funny, at least to me, as a content creator, you know, I really try to like really authentically share what's here, because the people who should come here need to like feel what is authentically here, and it not be something where people are coming in with this whole different set of belief systems and ideas and goals that override, sort of kind of touching on what you were talking about, what is already here in the people and the land. Right. Because that's what's special about this place. So
100%.
All right, we gotta go. Guys, if you made it this far, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Put any random comment you can possibly think of in the comment section below. Check out our retreat. It's just something.
We hope to see you down here one day, guys.
So until then,
we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Ciao.
Oh, I thought he already was.
Oh, dude, that would.
You got your airplane on? Yeah.
We'll have to do that again.
It'll be very natural.
What?
What you said to Monica.
No. I wanted to say, I'm a disagree. I'm
no agree.
I'm no agree. But she probably wouldn't understand that one.
I saw Kim and his wife just now. I was like rushing.
Oh, I haven't seen them in a while.
I was rushing to get here. And I'm like, he was like across the street. I'm like, how you doing, man? And he look, he's from New Zealand. He like looks back at me. He's like, excuse me? And like, I'm like, don't worry about it.
Forget about it.
Hey.
Select. How do I delete? Delete. Nice. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
It's very sad that we've gotten to that stage where all of my instincts and who I am and how I'm wired, I want to like peer pressure you and like talk a lot of shit to try and get you to come play basketball.
Yeah.
But like we've gotten to the point where like I'm not gonna do that because I know really I shouldn't. And like it's not worth it. Like.
No. If I was, I've kind of broken the ice at least on
Pickleball.
testing, you know,
Yeah.
the Mondongo and pickleball. But,
Oh, right.
yeah. So if I actually just commit to 2 months of therapy, like then maybe I'll know.
Is that all it is? 2 months?
Well, 2 months I'll be able to know whether like you can give me
It's
shit
doable
and
or
it's
not.
possible,
Yeah.
or it's probably not worth it. You know.
All right.
But I got to commit to that first,
Well,
man.
that's low hanging fruit.
It is, but you know, it's a mental toughness, man. I got mentally soft.
That's usually not been a problem for you.
No, and it's really, I just have to say yes, and I'm choosing to continue to say no, because it's not gonna be
Well,
easy.
at some point here in the near future,
Yeah.
like I'm very much there. I need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I've started back, you know, some just like pull-ups and shit like that.
That's
But
good.
I need to. At some point, I think I do need to go to the gym. I'm doing good. Like I've worked enough of the tightness out of my back and my hips
Nice.
that it's like my body functions better.
Right.
And so now, like, I feel like I can strengthen without making everything worse.
Right,
Because
right.
partly it's like when you strengthen, everything goes
Yeah.
to some degree.
Yeah.
And so, but like I can do, you know, I can do some amount of exercise with my legs and not like just immediately feel my knee
Oh, that's good.
screaming.
Yeah. See, I can't. I'm not anywhere near that. It was funny how you said that. It reminded me. I saw Adriana on Thursday. What's today?
Thursday.
No, today's Thursday. I saw her on Tuesday. And she's telling me after how she's like, oh, it's the last couple months, like everything's been getting really, much better, much less tension, you're not nearly tight. And she's, talking about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I started laughing, and it's because I'm like, it's because I haven't done it. It's because I've not done anything athletic for a long time.
Right.
It's just I'm just lazy right now. There's no stress on the muscles or anything. Like I'm not even using them enough to like tighten them, which is kind of sad.
I was giving Jake shit about not playing basketball the other day, and he was saying he was like frustrated, which I saw this. I kind of thought he was being even more of a pussy than he is, but I thought he had stopped playing because he was frustrated with because Jake's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's super athletic.
Yeah. And when he first was coming, I was impressed with his game.
Yeah.
Like he's got a good game. And then when he got back from the States, his game wasn't as good. And I figured it's like all of us, you just don't play for a while. But he wasn't really getting it back. But I don't know how consistently he was coming either. So I don't know how much. Anyways, he's associated it with tightness in his hips. And he says he's having. And it was interesting when he was saying it because I remember maybe, 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I've had tightness I've been dealing with that I've been working through for years now, but successfully, but slowly. But it was Ian that made me fully realize how stiff my hips were, because all of a sudden there's a guy with lateral right. Who's quick,
lateral quick,
who I on defense have to be able to actually move laterally quickly, which means I got to be able to get down and move. And I started doing serious hip opening stuff to be able to guard Ian.
Right. See, and they say ego is all bad.
Right. Well, it's probably ego that made the hips tight in the first place.
Yeah.
But it worked. I mean, I can cover him better now than I could then, and I'm older now.
Yeah. So maybe in a way, ego is a gift.
Well, it's part of the experience, no matter what. So. Gift. It's the
used.
gift. It's the curse. It's
right. How do you use it, right?
It's everything, man. Yeah. How do you use it, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
But I think even that you have to overcome that also, because it's you can use your ego for motivation for good stuff, but even that you then have to that can be great.
Got to check it.
But But then you have to be okay, well, if I just keep using this as motivation, that turns bad. Like that turns into a bad.
Yeah, it's balance, man. Balance. Yeah, that's where I need to find balance in my motivation for physical activity. I mean, it got bad where Quinn's like,
He's calling you fat.
dude, he's called me Santa. He's like, what's up, Santa? I'm like, you little shit.
I mean, he definitely learned how to quip from his father.
No, but he's like, you know that mural? There's a mural like next to the park, and it's got like the warrior guy, and he's got his arm pointed. You know, we were walking up for something last week, and you know, Quinn stops and he's like, "Mommy, remember when Daddy's arm used to look like that?" And I'm like, "You little shit! Like it doesn't anymore."
Yeah. No, when you were working out at Otis, you got yourself.
No, I was in good shape. That
Nice
was the best shape I've
pretty
been,
jacked.
dude.
Yeah.
Best shape in my life.
No, it was.
That's the irony. Then I would do stem cells to actually heal something.
And now you're just sitting around. Yeah, it was interesting to me actually to see that because, you know, we always have this divide on, you know, which is the Scorpio Capricorn. It's pretty classic actually, but you know, but it's like for you everything's gonna have a systematic approach, and for me, you know, nothing's gonna have. It's gonna be, you know, I don't put weight on that the way you do, although I do more than I used to. But yeah, it was interesting for me to see your results that way with like a very systematic approach because it worked.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've done it before. That's part of it. Like where if you've done it before, and it's just some of it's just your body's remembering.
Sure.
It's not as difficult.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I mean, as you get older, it's probably harder. So you're working against that because everything, you know, you're still damaging your body, even if a place like this where you have less pollution, you have less chemicals in the food, you have less shit in the water, you know, like you still have accumulated damage up to this point, and, you know, it's not perfect. There's still, you know, so, you know, as we age, I don't know if it's about necessarily age itself, but just accumulated or continuing progressive damage to things or detoxing things. So I think that makes it harder as we get older.
Yeah.
But if you've done it before, where you've gotten out of shape and gotten back into shape, or then I think it's probably easier.
Yeah, and like how much of that is just the mental pathway is there, which then everything else reflects.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, I mean, if you think about it, you know, if you listen to people that have chronic illnesses or that aren't, you know, chronic, you know, life-shortening, life-threatening illnesses.
Aren't or are?
No, that are those where they've been told their life is shortened or will be shortened, whatever, those types of illnesses, where they're actually physically declining throughout the disease, like Lou Gehrig's or ALS, stuff like that. But you can even, you know, it's almost like every one of those people talk about it's even harder to have a healthy mind without a healthy body, right? So like a fit body actually supports you, you know, it allows you to have in a way, that's not the right word, not allows, but it like.
Yeah, it's a chicken or the egg kind of thing, from my perspective.
Well, yeah, but how, you know, everything's a chicken and an egg, right? You know, like, right. So, but it's just like, if you have, you know, one of these, it's just interesting from these people's perspectives, because these are people that are losing their health. And they're explaining how hard it is to stay mentally, even though some of these diseases aren't affecting their brain. Yeah. Their ability to think, how difficult it is to stay mentally healthy.
It's because it's because science doesn't understand how all that works.
Yeah,
like
perhaps.
all that.
Or they do.
Just
allopathic Western science.
Yeah. There are types of science that are considered foo-foo nonsense. Yeah. That does understand. Right. But yeah, how the energy centers work in the body and how all of it's connected, and
and a lot of the stuff, like when I go back like when I got in shape this last time, like the routine, like the machination of the weightlifting is just, it's just micro progressive overload with periodization. So it's like, this is just stuff that just makes sense from, you know, like a mechanical perspective and a recovery perspective. But all the stuff, like why I'm able to get results like that is because of the science behind like the supplementation, knowing like, all right, if I supplement these amino acids or these, you know, NAC or these anti-inflammatory, you know, these types of things, you know, what the science says it does in your body and how that could impact or benefit.
No, it's really interesting. It's almost, to me, it's almost set up like in percentages. It's like there's a percentage of stuff that's fixed. That's just like the container. There's a percentage of stuff that's physical, like you're talking about. And then there's a percentage of it, when I say stuff, sorry, I mean that factors into some, up to 100% of reality.
No more?
Yeah. It's like the container and then the actual, what we call physical stuff, however you want to define that, and then the mind.
Yep.
And it's almost like it's percentages.
Yeah.
Because it's like the placebo effect and a million other things absolutely prove that the mind plays a huge role.
Right. The nocebo effect. Right.
And then, and then maybe part of it's the mind even in that, of course, as well. But yeah, but like I've had those experiences as well where, you know, I mean, when I like had my big awakening, you know, in 2011, 12, and one of the things I was doing at that time was like detoxing and you know, the substances helped a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, tremendously. Like I couldn't believe the effects some of the substances had on me. I was doing all kind of weird shit too. Like, did you ever get into Ormus and like?
No, I didn't get into any of the detox stuff actually.
Well, Ormus isn't detox. Ormus is like high vibe, like high spin rate, sort of salts that have been processed, and you drink them and you're like, you immediately just, it's like light comes into you. You like feel lighter and you feel more connected and you're just like, whoa.
That's
like,
right. That makes sense, right? Those conduct electricity, right? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, salt's pretty magical too.
No, I've been thinking about doing some type of detox, but I don't even know. Maybe you'll have to help me.
I can definitely help you with that.
Like where to start and do something, because that
stuff
could be like
I
a good
understand
way to
well.
do that. Maybe do like a 3-day fast and then kickstart, you know, like
The workouts or the rehab.
Yeah. But I need something like that. I need like an event. I need like
You need the mental piece.
do you know what I mean? Yeah. For me anyway, I don't know. Some people can just go, I need like a party. You know, like we're doing this. Every cell, it's time. Yeah,
Would you describe yourself as like pretty all or nothing on stuff or no?
I would say for things that for me take, you know, a large amount of mental energy to stay committed to, I have to be all or nothing on those things. So like, because I don't want to, like for me, like if I start this again, if I start this process, when I start this process.
Yeah, you have to do it.
Yeah. Like my goal isn't to be like, oh, I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, let's just get in shape. Let's get in better shape. It's like, my goal would be, I want to be in the best shape of my life. Like, so knowing what it takes.
If you have that kind of goal, you have to be all or nothing.
So, right. And knowing that what it takes to do that, because I just did it 2 years ago. I'm like, I can't go half-ass and commit that way.
I'm really impressed by my dad. He always stayed in shape, always.
Yeah.
You know, played basketball and ran a lot and did different stuff. And at one point he had a treadmill, and then he got into like some weird thing on the trampoline he was doing, and he does saunas, and you know, he's always kind of taking care of himself that way. But when he learned about this phenomenon that I don't know the name of, but like where you lose muscle and you basically die that way.
Sarcopenia, age-related sarcopenia.
Yeah.
Dude, we talked about it.
You and him.
Yeah.
I know. A couple years ago, I know.
Yeah.
When he learned about that, he got into like strength training specifically, and he's like kind of jacked now.
Yeah, no,
Like,
he was in good shape. He was doing like.
I was looking at
I
him.
saw him
I'm
at
like,
the
"Wow,
office.
He looks better than he ever has.
He
in
was
my
able.
lifetime."
He could probably jump higher than me right now.
No, he can do. I don't remember how many push-ups. He can do a lot of push-ups, like a lot.
He did like the Dick Van Dyke jump in the air, click your heels, like chim chimney,
he's
chim
like
chimney,
78
chim
or
chim
something.
chiroo. Like he did it multiple times in the air, dude. I'm not kidding. I'm like, hell yeah, go Dave.
Does. But anyways, I was thinking about it in relation to, because they say like how much harder it is to build muscle when you're old. But I mean, he didn't start building muscle till his mid-70s.
Right.
He's bigger than he ever has been in his like. I've known him since his early 30s. Like he's bigger than he's ever been.
Yeah. So there's two phenomena. Like so one is it's harder when you get, the older you get. I think for those things that we described, just damage. But if you've never actually done it like consistently, then that's where those newbie gains come from.
Right.
So he just got his newbie gains in his 70s instead of his 20s, or like so. I mean that maybe not, but that could if you never actually did like consistent weight training or push-ups or strength. There's your body for the first time's adapting, so you get a hyper response to it in the beginning. But yeah, he was good. Are they gone or are they still here?
No, they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that the first time you stayed up here, or was he been there before?
No, he stayed there 2 or 3
Stayed a couple
times. He likes it there.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. You ever get into Carl Jung?
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, man. I've been diving in on that the last couple weeks.
Why?
It's speaking to me. It's part of my.
Speaking to your shadow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he had that book that he told no one to publish for 50 years after his death, which I think was published I want to read it, which was published in 2009, I think.
Let me see if it's it. I'm curious. You keep talking, I'm listening.
No, that's it.
Oh, you didn't read it?
I haven't read the book. I've been listening to stuff pretty consistently. It's good.
I wrote a paper in college that I was really proud of. That was Jungian philosophy with the Ripley. I've talked with you before about the Talented Mr. Ripley book series. Mm-hmm. It was combining like 3 different, like Jungian philosophy, Talented Mr. Ripley, the narratives, and then I forget what else. But it was like a paper. I'm like, yes, this is like a good one.
You enjoyed it, yeah?
Yeah. All right, let me see if this, because I've got a couple of Jung books.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and I don't remember.
Like in the electronic version, or?
No. I mean, most of my books are.
Or audio?
Are audio. Most of my books are paperback. John. Oh, excuse me. No, maybe it was. No, I don't know.
Do you ever study or read the Kybalion?
What is that?
It's like a mystic text. It's that's really good. It's really, really good. I'll send it. I'll send you a PDF.
Oh, it's a PDF.
Well, I mean, everything can be a PDF.
Yeah. Some things you can't get, man. There's certain things that I want
That are hard to get, yeah.
that I can't get.
I mean, all this ancient knowledge is like, it's all resurfacing now. It's really cool.
Yeah, there's a ton.
Yeah, it's endless. But it's all the same too. It's like
there's a lot of it, yeah, but some of it is like, it's so easy to fake so much shit now, you know.
Sure.
No passkeys available.
Did you ever dive into the Gene Keys stuff yet, or not? Not yet.
I started actually.
You did?
Shoot, all right, I can't get in here. Yeah, I got into some of the Gene Keys. I started, My Big Toe. There's some of these that I'm like, they're so big that I need to like. This is the systematic, right? This is that where I need to like lay out a plan about how I'm gonna finish it. Because I started it, and then I'm like, wow, this is gonna take me a while. I can't just commit, 4 hours a day to get through this.
Right.
And so I need to think through a plan. Like, all right, I'm doing an hour or two, this many days a week, and set a plan to get through pieces. And
Are you a type of person, like, do you need to understand everything about something in order to get what you want out of it, or do you need?
No, like there are certain aspects that I need though. Like if there's something incongruent in the beginning,
right, and you got to fully understand that before you can keep going. Yeah, I'm like that too.
Yeah. And if something's not fleshed out, like sometimes I'll find out like, oh, I want this piece fleshed out now before you go any further. Mm-hmm. And then I'll spend time to try and understand it, but then I just was impatient. It's like it's fleshed out in 2 more chapters.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah. And that's the same thing the same way with like any media that I consume, like TV shows, movies. Like if the actor is miscast, or if the acting is incongruent with the role, or if the music is incongruent with the, like if any of that stuff is like off, it's really hard for me to stay all in.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Which means that I don't know how I ever watched a movie from the 90s. Like any movie. Like we just watched.
90s movies were good.
No, they are good. No, that's it. That's the thing. They're good. Like we just watched.
Yeah.
We just watched Journey to the Center of the Earth. I think it's like 2000.
I was talking to you about that recently. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Maybe that's why we watched it. Yeah. Brendan Fraser.
Then that was the actor. So we were having this conversation. I was like, the actor in Journey to the Center of the Earth, and I couldn't remember his name. It's Brendan Fraser.
His name is Trevor in the movie.
Okay.
He is. I think he just won like an Emmy or an Oscar for some actually like. Because all I remember him is from like Encino Man,
right.
Stuff like that. And I'm sure he's had some serious roles, and maybe he's a great actor, but like. Journey to the Center of the Earth is terrible. Like he's a terrible.
Great.
Yeah,
the acting.
No, he's a terrible actor. It's so cheesy.
But it's
right,
great.
But it's good. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
right. Well, that's what a lot of those '90s movies are. They're very corny.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of like holes and
super holes
and just but
leaps of logic that they never explain. And
But there's something about that that's like part of the charm.
Right, like there's zero character development, It's just there's no character arcs, It's just like, oh, I hate you now, I love you tomorrow, and we're never gonna be friends. Now we're best buds tomorrow, No, that was good though. No, Quinn liked it
and all that. Yeah,
Quinn liked it. He watched it a second time.
Yeah,
we watched Richie Rich as well with Macaulay Culkin.
I remember that. I haven't seen that probably in 30 years.
Yeah, it's another winner.
Yeah. I don't remember that being good, but I don't. No, I was a kid.
No.
I don't know if I ever liked anything he did outside of Home Alone.
Yeah. I don't even know anything he did. I didn't even realize he was in Richie Rich until we were looking for something to watch.
Right. Yeah, my era, baby.
Did you watch the Harry Potters?
dude, I could never. So The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter, all three. They're like maybe the three biggest things to happen in the last however long that's been. I was gonna say 20 years, maybe it's longer. I don't know.
Longer. Yeah.
But whatever it's been.
Maybe.
Bro, I don't know. I can't. I literally have sat down and tried to watch all three of those at different times and cannot make it through
Lord
the
of the
movie.
Rings?
Can't make it through.
Really?
Like I can't make it
Lord
through.
of the Rings was good.
Like I turn it on.
Harry Potter was pretty good.
I know there's stuff to learn in this. There's motif stuff. There's
archetypes. Yeah.
That's what the word I was looking for. There's archetypal stuff. I'm like I'm pretty sure that there's information in here I want that, you know, and I can't do it. I don't know. I just can't watch it. It's like after a while it just starts bothering me. I either fall asleep or I just get bored and turn it off.
It's also if you start watching a 3-hour movie at 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
I definitely have done that a few times.
Like that's tough to watch anything.
But I'm weird with that stuff, man. Like a lot of people didn't like that last Scorsese gangster movie.
The Irishman?
The Irishman.
No, it was great.
I thought it was one of the greatest films I've ever watched.
It's great.
Like I think I probably watched that 20 times. Like the pace, how slow it is, and the pace and the way it's shot, and just to me it's just beautiful. Yeah. People kind of were shitting all over it. My favorite movie maybe of all time was Cloud Atlas.
And nobody
liked it. I mean, I think Chris Rock is not funny at all.
Right.
Or not Chris Rock, sorry. I don't think he's funny either, but I was talking about not Chris Rock. The Chappelle. Like I don't understand that humor.
You don't think he was funny ever?
No. Like when I was in high school and all my friends were watching the Comedy Central, like I didn't get it. I still don't get it. Like I'm weird with that stuff. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean he has some funny stuff, I think. I mean,
like when sometimes in my algorithm, like his clips will come up in like shorts, and I'll just click on it just to see, and I don't get it. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, like right now I think Theo Vaughn is popular.
See, I like Theo Vaughn, and I like Shane Gillis.
You like Shane Gillis?
I like Shane Gillis. Yeah, I think Shane Gillis for me makes me chuckle.
Okay. But Theo Vaughn does
I liked
too?
Ralphie May.
Ralphie May was great,
he's funny.
dude.
Like, he's really
Ralphie
funny.
May is hilarious.
And I really liked that guy that died. That there's a conspiracy that he turned into Alex Jones, but you know what I'm talking about?
Turned into Alex Jones.
Yeah, comedian.
He
died.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I liked him a lot.
Dude, Ralphie May was great.
Ralphie May is hilarious.
Dude. Yeah, Ralphie May, and I just came across this guy. He's got cerebral palsy.
Well, I don't know if I actually love Theo Vaughn's comedy, but like when I watch him do stuff and he makes quips, I think he's funny. Yeah, I think he's funny. I've never watched him do like a stand-up.
His shtick. Yeah, I've never watched a stand-up either. Yeah. Let me see
that guy like Bert Kreischer, I don't like him. I don't think he's funny.
Josh Blue. You heard this guy?
I don't know him.
He's got cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And he makes jokes. I mean, a lot of it is about himself. Like he's divorced, he's with kids, he's got cerebral palsy. He's hilarious, dude. I guess he's been around doing this for like a decade, like new material. I'd never heard of him, but man, Josh Blue, he was cracking me up.
No, I don't know him.
Yeah, it came up after a Ralphie May.
There's some random comedians that no one's ever heard of that are fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I get those in my algorithm also. Like sometimes it's even like guys that don't cuss, that are totally clean, that are like, but they're just funny. Like, you know.
Who's that Italian guy? That Italian comedian? He got pretty popular.
The super dirty one.
Was he super?
No, I don't know.
No, not like
the one I was thinking of.
Sebastian, is that his name?
I won't know.
There's a guy that got popular a few years ago. I think his name is Sebastian. But he was like, you know, Goodfellas, style, Sebastian. Yeah. But he did this bit about answering the door when the doorbell rings 20 years ago versus now. It had me dying. Dude, I was dying because back in the day, and your mom's got, company's here, and the doorbell rang, and everybody's, and she brings out the coffee cake, and she puts a pot of Senka on, and we got company, guys. Everybody's excited, and then he's talking about now the doorbell rings and everybody hides and don't say a word, and did you call, you're messaging your kids, did you invite anybody over? Like, who's here? Dude, it was hilarious. I'm like, wow, dude, it's so true. Like, people used to be excited when people came over, your doorbell rang, you're excited because company's here, let's sit down and talk. And, now if you don't, message somebody when they're in your driveway to let them know you're stopping by, like, they might not answer the door.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, if you, no one calls you, you get a text like, can I call?
Right. Oh,
which is considered like the polite thing to do.
Yeah, it's strange, man.
No, there was a texture. There was a texture to life. Pre-computer, phone, iPad, that is gone.
Yeah.
Like, there's a texture that
I miss a lot of that.
I do too. It's sad. It's something was lost. For sure.
Were you too young, or you're too young? Do you remember Mad Balls?
No.
Those were they were like these styrofoam, they were like a baseball, but they were just like funky looking, like they were like a monster. There was like this whole.
I think I might remember like commercials or something, but I don't think I had one or anything.
Mad Balls or, let me see if there's images here. I just want you to see. Yeah, these things. Remember these things? Mad Balls.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
No.
I think I've seen them, but
or what were those? Or Mask. Tiny wrestling figures.
That guy who you said is maybe you, because you must have followed him. That guy you said his name was Felix, but he's
Sebastian.
Coach JV on.
Coach JV.
He pops up on my Facebook. I sent you a video, and you were like, "Oh, I didn't know Felix was on." You said Facebook or TikTok or something. Felix, you said? I don't know.
Oh, I was just joking about our Felix.
Oh, I had no idea. I'm like, oh, the guy's name must be Felix. I figured like you had been following him and you knew him.
No. I was just saying.
Did you watch that?
Felix. I probably, because that's probably where I tried to make the joke that you didn't get.
Oh, that I didn't get.
But before you go, the Mad Ball, like, I just remember as a kid, like, and somebody a friend coming over ringing the doorbell because to show me the new Mad Ball that they got, or the new mass figure, the GI, like, hey, look what I got, and oh, cool, let's go play.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
All that stuff, man. No, yes.
So what about Felix?
Yeah. Well, now I didn't send you this video that I should have sent you. Now I'm not gonna be able to find it. But the guy was making a lot of sense to me.
In regard to?
Crypto and the economic cycle.
No, I've seen, I watched that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought I had shared it, but I don't see it here.
Yeah, that's a common
I'm sure.
narrative right now.
Yeah. But it's probably right.
I mean, I don't know, man.
No?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It's just like, it's almost like everything, with me anymore, where I can only go so far and be like, okay, this feels this, I think this, I feel this, whatever words you want to describe our ability in this reality to sense, feel, understand, know, anything.
Yeah.
There's,
I'm just laughing that's where the Felix reference. I was like, I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, Brandon must follow this guy and he knows his name.
No. Yeah. I've seen him. Yeah. But any of that stuff for me now is to a point, and then it's like, all right, I used to, let me put it this way. Mm-hmm. There was a time in my life in the past where I would draw conclusions, and I would, develop, assertions that, these are the assertions that are true, period.
Right.
And now it's like, man, now I can feel, think, sense to a certain point, and then be like, you know what? That's it. I can make 1,000 arguments on why, even though I feel like this is might be the truth, I can make 1,000 relatively valid arguments that could convince myself that it's not true on future events happening in regard to financial markets or any of that stuff. So like, all right, well, I could do that pretty easily. So I can kind of, now I just go to a point where I'm like here, and then the rest, it's like, I could be totally wrong, and I'm okay with that now. Like before, I felt like I needed to know, I needed to have the answer, I needed to be like, this is the direction for sure. Now I kind of get the general direction. I don't need to know for sure because you don't ever anyway.
That's right.
I don't know. Did that even answer what you asked?
What did I ask? But if it's right, it's probably right. I said yeah. I don't know, but I bring it up because just of some of the conversations we had probably 2-3 years ago at this point or more, just about the direction of the markets and crypto and as it relates to Trump, and so I think a lot of that stuff is playing out now.
Well, it has. I mean, it's played out the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
There's been nothing that's shaken it off that trend, that trajectory.
Right. So yeah, it's just I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there was.
But good.
Go ahead.
Not good.
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to mildly change the subject.
Off of financial markets, or off of?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, off of debt-based fiat systems.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let me do this. So there was. I was doom scrolling through, on the John the other day.
Yep.
And Ralphie May and Tibet, got all my comic, got that through, and then I'm like, I needed to get off of that, and I was getting ready, and I just went back to my regular feed, and there was this bit about two, and it's with AI now, and it was these two aliens talking about debt-based society, in the world, right? And they were like, can you believe these morons? They have they have abundant resources. They've got all these resources, and they got as a world, they're $350 trillion in debt. And like, to who? To themselves? Like, who are they in debt? And they're going on and on. And I'm like, wow, that's. He's like, they did it to themselves. Like, who?
When I was in my time period of needing to prove things and needing to be right and know and all that shit, that was one of my favorite questions when I was trying to explain the money system to people and how currency was created and how all that works. That was always one of my favorite questions to ask people of like, every country in the world is in debt. To who?
Right.
Right. Like, who's the creditor?
Exactly.
Like if every country is the borrower, who's the creditor?
Who's
like
the
to
creditor?
who are they in debt? And it's.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah.
It's quite a system.
Right. Yeah. It's genius.
It's the most brilliant. It is so brilliant. And I remember when I was like learning about that stuff in depth in 2010, 11, 12, really studying that stuff and like coming across some of the letters and documents and documentation that's been exposed when that was being created by the creators. And I remember reading a bunch of like Henry Ford's thoughts on it and different people and just the evil genius of that system. I mean, it is brilliant. Yeah. It is brilliant. It's such a brilliant form of slavery. Like,
it makes you wonder, like, what is the true origin story of that?
So that's where my mind went as well. Like, I was literally having that thought right when you, like, yes, exactly. And I think that's off-world. Like, I think that's given. It's like, okay, you're the controllers, you're our proxy, you're the controllers, you guys get to do, have this position and be this thing on Earth. Here's the next system we're rolling into.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that. It could be like, hey, somebody hacked this system, like somebody from somewhere else hacked into this reality, like.
Yeah, there's some of that too, yeah.
And just like, all right, it's.
Yeah, well, all those theories are super interesting, and there's like, there's a lot of this is going to sound so stupid, but I don't have any other way to say it. There's a lot of very serious scientists who, you know, and thinkers who posit that, you know, the possibility of this being, you know, number one, that this is a simulation,
right?
And the possibility of this being like the base reality is basically zero. That we're almost definitely living in someone else's created simulation.
Right, a multiverse.
Yeah.
Speaking of the alien and stuff, who was this guy? He was just on Rogan's podcast. Jesse Michaels, I think his name is.
I know him.
But he's like knee deep. He's neck deep in like UFOs, anti-gravity, ancient civilizations, and everything in between. Like
Jesse Michaels?
Jesse Michaels.
Oh yeah, I saw some of these clips, but I hadn't watched any of them yet.
Yeah, but he talks about like anti-gravity tech and alien mummies in Peru and reverse engineered UFOs and like in a relative, you know, I don't know, but it's just interesting, like all this stuff like that is out there for people to consume, and it's crazy that we're at this point where it was such a controversial thing, you know, to disclose evidence of any of this stuff, and now you get it all the time, and and nobody gives a rip. Nobody cares, dude.
Yeah, I think that's part of what the pre-programming does. It confuses reality.
Oh yeah.
And so it makes it so that when the thing that's been put in your consciousness so many times and told to you as like the most craziest impossible thing, when that actually happens, it's like you've already lived in that forever.
Maybe it's like a desensitized.
Yeah, something about that.
You're sanitized.
It's like that same kind of idea, you know, where you have like, you know, one political party screaming about something over and over again for years, and then when it actually comes out, they were doing that thing over and over again consistently that they've been screaming. And so then it's like, it almost does something weird in the brain of like, well, then what do you do with that then? Mm-hmm. It's like, well,
that's the false dichotomy of two-party politics in the U.S. for sure.
Yeah.
Right, that exact thing that's the playbook. I mean, that's those moves I think are laid out specifically.
I think so too.
Those tactics in like rules for radicals and stuff like that. It's not like
all the communist crap. Yeah, exactly.
Those are design tactics, you know, to control people and mind control, warfare, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, we've talked before about where, you know, you are of the belief, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to summarize, you're of the belief that like we're in a time where it's different, you know?
Yeah, and we're at a point in the cycle that's not the same point in the cycle as 10 years ago or 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago or
Any point in the cycle is never...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I'm saying that, because it's not so different in the sense that it's not part of the cycle, but it is different.
So this is one where it's different. I saw this today, so I would say that this kind of is a little bit of kudos. We'll see where it goes from here, but a little bit, you know, more in the vein of the way you're thinking about it than the way I think about it. But did you see that? You know, Marvel Comics, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that they introduced a new character?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I know how to pronounce this, but it came out in this new comic. It's the character's name is Ketema, Ketema.
Okay.
Who is supposedly T'Challa's son. So T'Challa.
I don't follow.
Okay, so T'Challa's Black Panther.
Okay.
Okay, so you know Black Panther?
Yes.
So Wakanda
I even
forever.
saw that movie.
Okay, so you know a little bit, right?
When it got, you know, became like a race thing or something.
Yeah. Okay. So here's interesting. This is what's interesting about this. So Ketema is T'Challa's son, who's the new Black Panther, right? Okay. Well, didn't
they like cancel that actor also? The Black
The
Panther
original
actor?
Black Panther? Well, I think...
No, the new one. The one from some years... The recent one.
Well, he died.
He died?
He had cancer, yeah.
Oh.
He had, like
He's
pancreatic
dead.
cancer. He's dead.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he, like, shrunk down and...
Oh, wow.
I think it was pancreatic. I don't recall.
All right, sorry.
But anyway, so Ketama is
I
supposed...
wonder if that's almost like a psyop in and of itself.
Right.
But,
Well,
yeah.
wait here, dude. Let me get to the
All right,
point.
all right,
Holy
all
crap.
right, all right.
T'Challa's son,
Yeah.
Ketama, Black Panther,
Okay.
the new Black Panther, is white.
What?
He's white.
What?
The backstory, apparently, is that Ketama is the result of T'Challa's relationship with a white woman named Nicole, who died back in 2000. Yes!
They're just trolling.
Dude, it's crazy, right? But, so it's interesting. So the backlash, dude,
Yeah.
the backlash is crazy.
Yeah, it's like trolling. It's like trolling.
The backlash is crazy about how racist this is and blah, blah, blah. And you can't do this and the white and it's
Well, it's not.
the
I mean, it's
African
kinda-
culture and...
There's almost something true. I mean, it's like if you're going to claim on the other side, you're going to be all up in arms about Snow White being Latina.
Right.
And like all this other...
Right.
They everybody's
Ariel,
yeah.
what was she? The
you know, I
Little
don't know.
Mermaid is black now, and
Right. Then like I don't know. It's kind of the same thing the other way.
I mean, I think the argument people were making was that this is more like, you know, the way they did the movie, that it's African heritage and you know,
right. No, people really took a lot of pride.
that Little
in that.
Mermaid is a fictitious character. I'm like, well, fucking Black Panther is a fictitious, you know,
Snow White.
He's a comic book character, right? But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? Why is this? What's wrong with the storyline where a black person had a child with a white woman, and that child fights to become king of Africa? Like Barack Obama was president of the United States. He identifies as black. He has a black father and a white mother, but he calls himself black. It's throughout Hollywood everywhere. Halle Berry, black father or black sibling or black parent, white parent.
Sure.
Lenny Kravitz, Mariah Carey, Derek Jeter. I mean, and they all call themselves black. So why can't Ketama identify as the white
You know that
guy?
You know that whole. You know the identifying as black thing. Like that goes back to slavery. In the U.S.
Interesting.
Like that's why everyone who has a black parent identifies as black, because in the U.S. if you had any black blood, they called you black and therefore you could be a slave. That's like that classification, because they don't have that. Like in Latin America, they don't have any of those classifications. There's not like a black-white divide. There's like a bazillion colors, and no one. There isn't like, oh, you're from Spain and so you're this, and you know you're white, or you're indigenous and you're this, or you're have African blood, so you're this. Like they don't have that.
Alicia Keys?
No, but they don't have that in Latin America because it was never classified like that.
Oh,
The government never like made those. You know, the race relations, whatever you want to call it, were different in Latin America. It was, you know, you were allowed to mingle. You were allowed to, you know, have sex with whoever you wanted.
Right. Interesting. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not like that stopped it from slavery, right? I mean,
what? Slavery here?
No, slavery in the States didn't stop slave owners from.
No, that's right. But it was super taboo. Like you couldn't date outside of your race, or you couldn't marry outside of your race. And like, sure, you could go, you know, do what you wanted with your slaves, but like you're not gonna like recognize those children or you know, do any of that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like it's the opposite. It's the social exclusion, political inclusion, north, and here it's the opposite. Here it's social inclusion, political exclusion.
Right.
So it's like here, you know, you couldn't own a business if you didn't have the right last name and the right blood going back to Spain. You couldn't hold office, couldn't do those kinds of things, but you could sleep with whoever and marry whoever and like, do all that. I saw this video. It's this pretty like dark-skinned black dude, and this is like a 30-second video, but and I'm sure there's probably like a million of these kinds of videos, but it's very true. You know, he's just sitting there and he's like, we're all brown. He's like, he's got a white dude next to him, and he's like, this is lighter brown. He's beige. You know, light brown, and then he like shows himself. This is darker brown. And then he's got like an even darker chick next to him. He's like, this is darker brown than me. You know, and it's so stupid. Like,
That's why I thought this was interesting, though. Like, I think the Black Panther stuff speaks more to just, it seems like a troll that is known. Like, it's not only is it a troll, but you know this is a troll that's going to divide people. Like, this is straight division. You're going to make people angry.
That's true.
You did it on purpose. You're making people angry. You're creating hate and divide. Like,
big time.
I'm joking about it. I don't honestly.
No, I'm sure people are very upset. Yeah.
I'm sure there's
people that are very upset.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people that are going to watch my characterization of it. They're going to be upset. But
right.
But at the end of the day, like, does that really matter? Should that matter? Or are we all brown? You know, right?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. No, I mean, it's one thing to have pride in your heritage and who you are and where you come from and your family and your culture. Like, that's all cool, but that can't extend out into, well, we're the best and you're not good and all that kind of shit. It's like, yeah. So, all right.
Should we do it?
Let's do it. Take the glasses off, huh?
Sometimes.
Get that twinkle in your eyes. You wink, and they can see that you're winking. Stop winking.
Hey guys, we're here in Vilcabamba with the Abundant Living team. To learn more about our next retreat, click the link in the description down below. From our family to yours, welcome to Vilcabamba.